Mr. President.
Senator from Florida.
And I thank the distinguished former chairman, now ranking member of the Finance Committee, my friend, Senator from Montana for the time. And I wanted to come and share with the Senate that for the third time in as many years, I find myself wondering how in the world can we continue to be in such a fiscal posture that we find ourselves. We are constantly reminded by the administration how rosy our economic outlook is, and there are some economic indicators that say that. And on the other hand, we hear from the Department of the Treasury that if the debt ceiling isn't raised, the government is in danger of defaulting on our loans. And by the way, where are a number of those loans? A huge amount of those loans to the United States government are from the banks of Japan and China, of all places. Well, in the 108th Congress alone, we've had to increase the statutory maximum of the debt by the government that it could carry by over $2.2 trillion. And the last time that we engaged in this exercise was a year and a half ago, in May of '03. We needed the single largest increase to the debt limit in U.S. history, and that was almost $1 trillion, $945 billion. And that lasted us only until today. Now, the Treasury is explaining that they've resorted to, quote, extraordinary measures just so they can meet their current obligations. So here we go again. 3 times we've done this in 3 years. Well, let me put it in context. From 1996 to 2001, the debt limit was increased by a total of only $400 billion, only in relative terms. Today, we're asking that that be doubled in the increase of the debt limit. There are certainly new expenses that we are now facing, such as terrorism and the war in Iraq, have put a tremendous strain on our budget. But these are not new expenses. We ought to be doing a better job of anticipating those needs and budgeting accordingly and not digging ourselves deeper into debt. And instead, the huge budget deficits year after year have put us on a reckless fiscal path that will take us decades to undo. And guess who is going to pay off that debt that we keep adding to the tune of $500 billion a year? It's going to be our children, and our grandchildren are going to have to pay that debt off. And so I keep hearing a lot of folks here who want this to happen. They keep claiming that they have a conservative fiscal record. But I think the truth is that the tax cuts and spend mantra is not fiscally conservative. It's fiscally reckless. There will undoubtedly be more expenses that we face, emergencies from natural disasters such as the 4 hurricanes that hit my state, the floods in the Midwest, and that's part of the reason for having a federal government to respond to those emergencies. There are going to be necessities such as the imminent retirement of the baby boomers, the unstable situation and trying to stabilize Iraq, and the terrorist threats all across the globe. We cannot continue to ignore those needs on our balance sheet. But today's debt limit increase is something that I have a great deal of problems with simply because of the way of the fiscal policy that has been thrust in the running of our government. And I just don't want to see this as an annual exercise. Mr. President, I yield the floor.